Hey guys, this is a model MMI response to the STEM. A 30-year-old man is in a small 4-bedded ward and asks out loud whether his HIV test was positive. Just before the ward round started, the team had received the result, which is positive. Do you answer truthfully and therefore risk the rest of the reward knowing by breaking confidentiality, or do you tell a lie and then explain to him afterwards that you did so to protect his confidentiality? So this is a super hard question, guys. With all ethical dilemmas, especially in a medical context, they are going to be competing medical pillars. And the fact that they are dilemmas means that there's no right answer. There are merits to both sides. On this case, I can give you a structure for giving a more definitive way of approaching it and answer. But I think it's good not to stress when you get questions like this that there are right or wrong answers. What they're looking for isn't your answer, but in fact, you're working out how you arrived at your answer is where the marks are. So this question really is competing between truth and integrity and confidentiality. Now, what's great about this is that this gives you an opportunity to be cognizant of that there is actually multiple ways of weighting the medical pillars. So on one hand, there's the ethical way, and on the other hand, there's the legal way. So legally speaking, the first pillar is autonomy. The second is beneficence and non-maleficence, don't harm and do good. The third is confidentiality. The fourth is truth and integrity. And 5 is justice and fairness. There are very little legal repercussions for not being just or fair, but there are major legal repercussions for not respecting a patient's autonomy. Ethically speaking, on the other hand, truth and integrity is number 1. 2, beneficence and non-maleficence. 3, justice and fairness. 4, autonomy and consent. And 5, confidentiality. So if you're aware of these, maybe you could write them out. You can then balance the responses accordingly. So let's look into the situation. Ethically speaking, purely ethically speaking, we should tell him the truth because that has priority over his confidentiality. From a legal perspective, however, we should preserve the confidentiality by any means necessary because there could be legal repercussions for us or the hospital. It might seem very easy to say, I'll tell you afterwards, but that would always be interpreted as meaning it is positive. If you whisper, the rest of the ward will assume a positive result. In this particular case, the right course of action is clearer by asking out loud, knowing others could hear. The patient had already himself broken confidentiality and has therefore given you the right to answer truthfully, although of course you would do so as discreetly as possible, trying to avoid other people hearing. Discussing confidential details in an open ward is particularly difficult if the patient is hard of hearing. So to put that into kind of a minute response, let me just put some time on the clock. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to do this as well as I just read it to you, but let's have a crack. So this is a really challenging situation because it brings into confrontation truth and integrity and confidentiality. Now, ethically speaking, truth and integrity should take priority since he has already asked out loud. He's broken his own confidentiality, therefore giving you the right to answer honestly. From a legal perspective, however, patient confidentiality would need to be at the utmost consideration because it exposes you and the hospital to liability. Of course, if you were to whisper in this particular case, it's going to be interpreted as positive, as well as if you said, I'll tell you later. So in this case, I would personally prioritize the legal dimension, preserving the patient's confidentiality. As far as how to manage that, I might ignore the question in such a way or call a team member in such a way as to imagine that what they had said had kind of got lost in the background of me doing something else and then disappear and then hope to re-engage the situation in a more adroit way. So I would personally try and be evasive in this case. That was a minute exactly. I hope that helps.